Welcome back to another video here on the Washington Football Maniacs channel. My name is Greg, along with the Brandon Scott. And if you're new here, this channel is dedicated to the Washington Commanders, one of the best franchises in the NFL. Maybe not this year on the football field, but historically one of the best ones. So if you're liking this channel and the content, please make sure you subscribe to this channel. When you do, make sure you also hit that notification bell so you will never miss another video release. So speaking of videos, in this video, we want to kind of do a little bit of a preview on Thanksgiving night coming up in a couple of nights. Well, it's not quite Thanksgiving night, more like Thanksgiving evening, afternoon. It is the annual Dallas Cowboys game. This time, Dallas Cowboys are hosting the Washington Commanders. Brandon, I don't know if we call it a rivalry game. Historically, it's always been Cowboys, Redskins. Now it's, Cowboys, Commanders. It's not quite the same ring, but regardless, it's a rivalry game because it's a NFC East matchup. Dallas Cowboys have been riding high. They've been playing really good football, especially on that offensive side. You got guys like CeeDee Lamb, who has been outstanding this year. Got to give my hats off to Dak Prescott as well. He's played really well this year as well. Their defense has played pretty good. I mean, Dallas has it hurts me to say it, they have a really good team. And teams that they're supposed to beat, they have been blowing them out. So this game, they opened up as, big time favorites in this game. So we're big time underdogs. And us Washington fans, well, we're kind of feeding into that as well. Brandon, I know that you probably are kind of thinking the way I am. You're probably thinking, this game is probably going to be a wash, especially after the horrible game we had against the Giants, a team we should have beat, that we were favored to win by double digits. We wound up getting beat by double digits. So here's my question to you, Brandon. First of all, we're not going to do keys to victory because, let's just face it. Yeah. So we're going to skip that. We're going to go into what is your prediction for the game, and past that, what is your prediction for the outcome of the future for the coaching staff? Do you think if this team loses, and maybe if they lose big, will any of the coaching staff get fired Thursday night or a couple of days after that? Or if they win, will that buy some time for the Commanders coaches? Or I guess the third option would be win, lose, or draw. We're just going to keep rolling with them till the end of the year, and then we'll make the changes. Give me your thoughts on that, Brandon.
Ooh, good questions, man. I'll say this as far as a prediction. I want to say that they're going to play hard because it's Thanksgiving game. They're playing in front of their families. I mean, it's a primetime game against a rival, a long-time rival. This is probably the best, in my opinion, probably yours, Greg, the best rivalry in sports. Not so much lately, but overall, this is probably, if not the best, one of the best rivalries in sports. But I want to say they're going to play hard, man. But then I look at primetime games. The Bears game was just a letdown. The Cowboys, as much as it pains me, man, the Cowboys are playing good football. I mean, both sides of the ball. Their defense, their offense, they're rolling. And it really looks like that between Philly and Dallas, man. It's going to be a tough NFC, man, especially when you throw in, San Francisco. I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, but it's good to see the NFC be dominant. You know what I mean? Because I'm always the kind of guy where if my team's not in it, I'm still rooting for the NFC. But it's not going to be pretty, man. I mean, we're just not a good team right now. There's a lot of turmoil going on. I mean, obviously, the coach staff, especially Ron Rivera and should be Jack Del Rio, I think they know the time's up. It's just a question of when. The players know that. Get rid of Sweat and Young, the struggles. The fact that people are now making fun of the stadium again because no hot water after following the Giants game. There's a lot going on, but I think the difference now, as opposed to other seasons, is new management. you got to manage. You got an owner who, in an ownership group rather, that they're going to make changes. They're going to make decisions, and you know that now. But it's just a lot of turmoil going on, and it usually is turmoil following the end of a regime. So especially with the Ron Rivera regime coming to an end. So I just, it's going to be a Cowboys win, and it's not going to be pretty. I really hope they do come out and they play hard. I really hope that, as a fan, as a lover of this team, I want to see them at least put some effort into it. But Dallas is too good, man. There's just, it's not gonna be pretty. So, I mean, the highlight of the day to me is gonna be turkey, hanging out with family. That's
Stuffing, yes.
There you go, man. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be pretty. The coaching staff. What do I think is gonna happen? Win, lose, or draw, I think they're gonna make a change. I think it's time for Ron Rivera to go. I think Josh Harris, he's an owner who knows how to read the pulse of the fan base. Looking at the saga with Philadelphia and the 76ers, the other team he owns, and a lot of turmoil surrounding players like Ben Simmons and James Harden. For you NBA fans out there, he's listened to the pulse of the fan base. He knows that it behooves him, and Magic knows too that it behooves him to listen to the pulse of the fan base. Because this is a very vibrant fan base, one of the older fan bases of the history of sports. People forget that. They're going to listen to the polls. People are done. People have checked out. Checking out means less money. Checking out means people ain't watching. Checking out means people ain't showing up. And owning a business, your biggest key is making a profit. And so he knows it behooves him to maybe see what Eric Bieniemy can do the rest of the season. If he does well, maybe they'll talk. But I think there's a lot of candidates next year, whether it's Harbaugh, whether it's Belichick, Ben Johnson's another name out there. There's options out there. I think they're going to make a move next year. And probably Eric Bieniemy is going to be the OC next year. Jack Del Rio, I think that if you look at the performance of this defense, maybe we need to get smoked on Thanksgiving, especially from the defensive side, for the ownership to say, look, enough's enough. Bring somebody else in there, at least in an interim basis on the defense, because Jack Del Rio just hasn't. He ain't made it, man. I mean, we continue to give up 30-plus points every week. And I think from a defensive and overall team-wise, they lost the locker room. Guys aren't responding, and everything's always in hindsight, right? And when you look at certain actions by certain players like Chase Young in the past, has Ron Rivera been too lenient to the players and not been more of a disciplinarian? I believe so. To a certain degree, I believe that the players have kind of ran the locker room. I mean, look at issues with the fight between Jonathan Allen and Ron Payne. Chase Young kind of operating on his own schedule. You time and time again, you see a lot of issues where Ron Rivera is very silent on it. You don't see that leadership coming out and say, this is not what we're about. And in this previous game, man, with Forbes and St. Juice celebrating after an average play, this shows that there's a lot of immaturity in this locker room. The players aren't responding to Ron Rivera. So I believe it behooves them, man, that they got to make that coaching change. Win, lose, or draw. They got to make that change, Greg.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just, for me, I'm kind of like, at what point, in my head, I'm still kind of trying to figure out, okay, is it really going to matter? Because obviously this season's going to be lost. You're 4-7 at this point. If you lose on Thursday, you're 4-8. You're pretty much done. I mean, you're already, yes, you're technically still in the hunt, but honestly, the only thing you're doing is hunt for a seat on the couch to watch the playoffs. I mean, you're done, right? But I'm so torn on this because part of me is kind of like, let's go ahead and let's start making the changes now. Let's cut ties, because that gives you a head start toward looking at who you can actually get next year, because you got the Raiders, who already made severed their ties with McDaniels, and so they're going to possibly, maybe, have a head start in their coaching search. Although Antonio Pierce has been doing a pretty good job there in Las Vegas, so who knows? They may have found their head coach. That was why I kind of put that out there as far as on our community tab. Who do you think should be the next head coach? And I had some other honorable mentions. Antonio Pierce was one of them. But Yeah, I'm just torn. I think part of me would like for the process to already begin just to get it over with. Because that, to your point, um, I think Josh Harris needs to show that he has his finger on the pulse of the fans and he's listening to them, and he's right there with us. And because he said this is not his team, it is the city's team, it is the fans' team. Well, if that's the case, fans are telling you they don't like the situation, right? That they need something else. Maybe you fire Jack Del Rio. Maybe you start with that and say we're getting rid of him. But Ron Rivera seems to be, in some cases, loyal to a fault to his coaching staff. Although he did fire one coach last year. So I don't know. Overall, I think that keeping him means that maybe you're trying to tank the season. Maybe you want to see if you can possibly keep moving up in the draft this coming season. Of course, that's also going to open up more conversations between fans as far as, oh, yes, now we're in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. And that starts opening up another can of worms because, to me, I think we found our quarterback, and I would rather use those higher picks to either trade back and pick up more picks to rebuild that offensive line so that Sam Howell has protection and, and good, solid left tackles and right tackles and things like that, as opposed to putting all your eggs in one basket, getting somebody like Williams, who then again you haven't addressed the situation up front, and you're in the same situation again. So yeah, sometimes I think it's not so great to choose so high. Other than that, I think I'm just torn. I would not be surprised if Rivera is let go. But I almost feel like you have to fire both Rivera and Jack Del Rio, and that would be a huge mid-season change. I'm not sure if I've seen that where your defensive coordinator and your head coach both were fired. Maybe that's happened to other teams. I just haven't paid attention to it, but I haven't really seen that mid-season. Usually, I've seen the coordinators getting fired, but the head coach is the one who fires them. But I would think that you'd need to at least do something. But at the same time, we'll see. One thing's for sure, they deserve it. Because I just don't think. Excuse me. I just don't think you're going to see a W on Thursday night. No way.
Nah, it ain't happening.
No. No way. So
I mean, to your point, man, I think there should be optimism, and I know that we're in a video coming up. We're going to talk about a lot of reasons why we should be very optimistic about this team going forward. Because I mean, you got to make these necessary moves. We knew that changes were coming because the new ownership group came in. I think it was just we're delaying the inevitable, especially with Ron Rivera. I think everybody kind of knew in the back of their mind that Ron Rivera is not the fit going forward. There's a lot of optimism, like you said. We got more draft picks in the top 100 picks of the draft. So, if I believe, and I know you believe, that we have found that franchise quarterback.
Mhm.
I mean, he still has 2 more years on a rookie scale contract, and so you have 2 more years to evaluate. So how do you evaluate? Okay, go out there, spend your first round pick on a left tackle. Boom. I mean, go get a left tackle, solidify the line. You got to spend some money on the defensive side. Go get a number 1 corner. Go get a lockdown corner, and then put Forbes on the other side, where they're not lining up their number 1 receivers on Forbes, where number Forbes not sitting out there looking scared against AJ Brown, man, because AJ Brown's just a bad cover fan. I mean, go out there and get a shutdown corner. Go get a linebacker or 2. Go spend some money. I mean, because the thing is, they're gonna have to spend a little bit of money. I mean, they have a lot of cap space, so go get some. Go solidify the linebacker. Look at it. Go get an edge rusher. And then go pick up one in the draft because you already got money. So I think that the light, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, Greg. I mean, we have cap space. We got picks. We can always get more picks. We don't have to pay for a quarterback because again, if you solidify the O line, maybe go out there and get another back. Because I mean, Brian Robinson has looked good, but I just don't see that consistent week after week 100-yard rusher that we need in Washington. Like, no, we're spoiled. You know, we had Glenn Portis, we had so many good running backs there. You know, John Riggins, who was at the game on Sunday, man. I mean, we've had good running backs. I like Brian Robinson, man, and he's definitely a bruiser. But maybe he's best served as a short yardage guy. Go out there and get a running back. You know, I think that we have a lot of cap space. We have draft picks. Even we have guys that have draft capital. So if you see guys on the roster that you don't want here long term, flip them. So we have a lot of opportunities to build this team. And it's not really so much a rebuild, more of a retool. Because I think that if we could give him a really good offensive line, you're going to see a really good season out of Sam Howell in 2024. Because look, with a trash line, he is still top 5 in passing yards. And there's some people criticize that, saying, well, it's passing yards. But, I mean, what is the biggest statistic outside of touchdowns and interceptions for a quarterback? Passing yards.
Passing yards, yes.
So, I mean, if you're top 5 with a terrible O-line and without a lead back, I mean, if you provide that for him, you can evaluate off of him. So in 2024, if you solidify the O-line, give him that back, maybe another tight end, and he still falters, then all right, and then you have that conversation saying, all right, maybe we need to look forward, we're going to draft. But if he has all those tools, man, there really is no excuse. You know, so I think that if you get that to Sam Howell, he's going to prosper. So I think that we should keep our hope, you know, definitely keep hope alive, man. I think there's a light at the end of the tunnel. We finally got rid of Snyder. I mean, we get rid of Ron Rivera and Jack Del Rio, go find some coaches who fit the mold, and we hit the ground running. I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, I totally agree. And one thing that we have to keep in mind, folks, as fans, is that looking at what's going to be open positions after the season, is that now you're looking at some very attractive positions. Last year, or I should say, in the past, nobody wanted to come to Washington. Nobody wanted to work for Dan Snyder. Now there's new ownership, and ownership that has had some success. You can look at Magic Johnson and say, there's where your championship success has been. And Josh Harris, he has shown that he can turn some franchises around and make them very competitive. So they know how to run sports franchises. Yep. And that's something that's positive. And now as prospective general managers, as head coaches, you're looking at Washington going, there's an opportunity there because we've got a better owner to work for. This is still a very proud city to work for. It's a great place. While we may bag on the stadium, there's down the road, there's an opportunity for a brand new stadium. There's a quarterback who is a very good quarterback. You got somebody to build around. You got guys like Terry McLaurin there. You do have a good nucleus of players to start with. So it's very attractive. It's a good spot to be. You're not having to rebuild. Like you said, it's a retooling. It's not a rebuild. And I think it's something that, a good general manager and a good head coach can come in and really turn this thing around pretty quickly. So let's hope that happens. Obviously faster than I'm turning this cold around. But, folks, just be patient. I've said that in a lot of our videos. Be patient, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Keep looking at Twitter. Keep looking at ESPN after that Turkey Day game, because I have a feeling something is going to be announced after that game. Now, if we win, who knows? But that would be. You're looking at a miracle at that point, and I hate to say that playing the Dallas Cowboys, but I have no confidence in this team at this point. Yes. So much so that I'm not even going to give you a score. I'm just I'm going to sit back and say, enjoy your turkey, enjoy your family, and thank God for your blessings. But just excuse the Commanders for that night, and just maybe go on from there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man. Okay, folks. I think I've stumbled on this long enough. So we're going to wrap up this video. But folks, we'll be talking a little bit more about defenses and Sam Howell and the coaching and all of that in future videos. And we'll be talking about the aftermath, I'm sure. We probably won't be talking about that on Thanksgiving, or we'll try to release a video sometime Friday. And that is, by the way, that is my man Brandon's birthday. So wish him a happy birthday, by the way. He deserves it. He deserves it. So folks, if you enjoyed this channel, please consider subscribing. And we also have channel memberships. Consider that as well. We're going to be hopefully having some good stuff coming out for that soon. So go ahead and become a maniac. That said, if you don't have anything else, Brandon, we're going to call it a night. Held to the Washington Commanders, or whatever you want to call them. Oh my dear Lord. And folks, have a good night. We will talk to you soon. Take care.